Welcome to the Sage Advice Podcast, transforming the way people think and work so their organizations can thrive. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Ed Kless, and with me today is Dustin Wheeler. Dustin is the Accounting Technology Optimizer, Implementer, and Advisor for the Business Outsourcing and Strategy Department at Eide Bailly, a top 20 accounting firm in the nation. He helps the firm and its customers to automate automatic accounting processes and embrace business intelligence technologies. Dustin has written software reviews for CPA Practice Advisor and was honored to be included in its list of 40 under 40 tax and accounting professionals for 4 years running. Welcome to the Sage Advice Podcast, Dustin Wheeler.
Well, thank you, Ed. It's good to be here.
And I assume you fell off that list not because you lost your influence, but because you are over 40 now.
That is correct. I am over 40.
There you go. All right. Well, first of all, Dustin, why do you do what you do?
Well, I feel like my why has evolved over time. When I was a kid studying accounting in high school up through the first few years of my career, my why was to be as good as I could be technically and to collect a good paycheck, quite frankly. And then I chose accounting because I knew my debits and credits. I could be 100% accurate. I could really pound the 10 key like a piano and make music on it. So I spent the first few years of my career working for a couple of large firms and kind of did what was expected of me. I produced a ton of billable hours and did a lot of compliance work, but my career really took a change, took a turn around 2008. In that kind of time frame, I attended the AEI CPA Tech Plus conference, and for the first time, really started networking outside of my firm and gained a new perspective on, and really got some optimism on how technology was transforming the way that we work. So I came away from that conference really energized and was on a mission to make the firm paperless that I worked for. I started to adopt the cloud and other technologies. And around that same time, I bought a domain, started a blog, and started using LinkedIn and Twitter and starting using those platforms to collaborate with some of the brightest minds in the professions. And I'm sure you'll recognize some of those names like Jason Blummer and Jody Padar, Shana Chapman, and many others. And they gave me a new perspective on the future of the profession. So all of this has led into my current role at Eide Bailly, where I primarily help our staff in the Business Outsourcing and Strategy Department to adopt technology that automates our work or helps us to be better advisors through things like business intelligence and forecasting tools. So I feel like my why now is to daily have those satisfying moments of teaching people a better way of doing things and seeking innovative solutions.
And tell me a little bit about how you've helped your colleagues at Eide Bailly develop a more consulting mindset.
Well, it's been difficult because people have been used to what they've been doing for a long time. But we have the mindset that if you keep on doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. And sure, you can work harder and maybe you'll get a little bit more of the same results, but we've worked at having a new deliverable, and that includes business intelligence. So maybe providing charts and graphs and something that makes more sense to our clients, because we traditionally might provide a balance sheet and an income statement, and we've discovered, there's some clients that have never looked at them or they haven't downloaded them for an entire year. And we just need something that's a little more meaningful and something that allows us to be better consultants to our clients.
And what about that just from a mindset perspective? How does one coach people on taking a consultative approach to things as opposed to, just dealing with the compliance issues?
Yeah, great question. Well, I think it's sometimes led by example, and what I've done is occasionally have sat in meetings with our staff. I'll offer that to our staff and say, let me sit in on a meeting with you. Let me try to discover some issues. Maybe we can discover some KPIs our clients want to monitor and watch. And when I've done that, I think they've learned a little bit from me or from others, just as I've learned that same kind of mindset from the partners and the superiors that I've worked with in the past.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just watching you listen will give them the clue that, hey, the answer is listening more.
Right.
And as you know, that can be sometimes tough because I think a lot of accountants and many professionals across the board were always taught that their job is to provide answers, but the reality is it's really actually to ask better questions.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it doesn't come easy to a new person, a person who doesn't have a lot of experience. And so we've actually developed a list of questions, almost like a cheat sheet for our first year staff or our beginning entry level staff to follow when they're meeting with a client. Some questions that they can ask as they go through that meeting.
Yeah, and that again, once you start asking the questions, it really opens up to lots of other discovery. So pretty cool stuff. So just a quick technology future. Put your hat on with regard to what you see in the future. We're talking at the we think the middle of the COVID situation. What do you think is gonna maybe stick, and what might not stick because of what we've experienced these last couple of months?
Well, I think what's really going to stick is automation and automation when it comes to classifying transactions and doing bank reconciliations, and a lot of that manual entry type of stuff is going to be automating, and we are automating that stuff. It's really satisfying to me when I can help a colleague who spends 6 hours putting together a spreadsheet, and we're able to whittle that down to 6 seconds. And I think we'll see a lot more of that as RPA takes hold and automation. There's a number of firms, a number of companies out there automating accounting work, and so we've got to take advantage of that and use the time that we gain out of that to be better consultants and advisors.
Sure. Hey, so we have an exit question, as you know, that we ask all of our guests, and that is, who is a hero of yours, Dustin, and why are they a hero?
Well, that's a tough question because there are so many people worth mentioning, but I'll pick someone who's close to me and it's more for his personal qualities than his life accomplishments, and that would be my grandpa. And he passed away when I was a teenager, but I just remember how patient he was and how encouraging he was and how he kept composure in difficult situations. So I remember how he used to say, "That's my boy," when I made him proud. And he always took the time to spend time with me when we went over to visit. So he had a lot of great personal qualities that I strive to emulate.
And lastly, Dustin, how can somebody contact you?
Well, I could give out my email address, but that would require me to spell Eide Bailly. So instead, I'll just say Google me. So if you Google Dustin Wheeler CPA, you'll find my Twitter account, which is Dustin WCPA. You'll find my LinkedIn profile, and you'll find my blog.
All right, Dustin Wheeler, accounting technology optimizer, implementer, and advisor at Eide Bailly. Thanks so much for being a guest on the Sage Advice Podcast.
Thank you, Ed.
For more Sage Advice, visit and subscribe at sageadvicepodcast.com.